Welcome to The Gorgeous Effect, the podcast that's about to rock your marketing world. I'm Julie Chanel, and with my co-founder, Cathy Olson, we're the masterminds behind Funnel Gorgeous and FG Funnels. We're about to drop some serious tea on how to create funnels that not only look amazing, but actually convert into customers. We'll chat mouth-watering offers, copy, design, and give you an inside look of some of our best and worst funnels. No smoke and mirrors, just real strategies that work from two ladies who have been around the funnel block. So grab your coffee or something stronger, we won't judge, and get ready to unleash the gorgeous effect on your business. It's time to show the world what you've got. Let's do this. Hey everyone, it is Julie and Cathy. We are back today with another episode of The Gorgeous Effect. We're going to get a little personal today. I think both Cathy and I are in sort of crazy seasons, and we got a question from a listener basically asking, how do you guys continue to run Funnel Gorgeous, your businesses, coaching, creativity, designing, writing copy, when so much life stuff is happening around you? So I figured we'd talk about that today. I mean, you've got something really big coming up. I just had something big, really big happen. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to run a business and run life. So maybe we can talk about that today.
Yeah, it's weird how normal it's become to like
that
run
may
your
not
business.
be a good thing.
Yeah, it's like, how do you balance running a business when like things are so crazy? But it's like it's always crazy. I mean, I feel it's like I'm sure you have seasons that are more crazy, but I feel like I've gotten used to crazy, and which is I don't know if that's good or bad, but I do think that we've developed a lot of things over the years because I can't even count on my hand how many crazy things have happened to us
in the
during
last 6 years.
Yeah, while Funnel Gorgeous has been being scaled and built, like the amount of crazy, it's probably what some of the craziest things that have ever happened to us have happened while we built this company. So I never even thought about it because it's so normalized to us. We just keep kind of doing it. But I guess it's something to talk about because we have been through so much, and it goes to show that we've been able to maintain this business through the craziest of things.
Yeah. So I'm going to kick it off with something super tactical just because that's how my brain thinks. But I want to say, first of all, if you have not seen our newest product and our newest funnel, it is called About Darn Time. You can go to aboutdarntime.com. It's a $37 product, which basically downloads how I manage my day. And if I could give anyone going through something crazy one piece of advice, every single one of us as human beings get one shot to wake up in the morning with a blank slate. And I feel like that first hour, that first 2 hours after you wake up, before the world hits you, before your thoughts come at you, before whatever, we have this time where, and maybe it's not always a blank slate because sometimes problems carry over the night. But for most of us, we wake up with our best brain and our most creativity and our least amount of distraction. And so inside About Darn Time, I talk about this concept of sacred time and how to find that sacred time. And I know for myself that if I need to keep producing and I need to keep building and people are depending on me, I have to protect those first couple hours. And I have to use those because once the day hits me, man, it's over. Not until I sleep again will I get another round. But we get one moment in time a day. And tactically, it makes a huge difference if you're trying to build a business while you're in crisis mode.
Yeah, I don't think I realized how much I actually use my business as the dopamine, as the oxytocin, right? Which goes to say how important it is for you to love your business. Because if they were both stressful, I think, you know what I mean? If they were both, not to say that business isn't stressful, but it's like a good kind of stress. It's where it's my creative outlet. So yeah. I kind of go, I love designing and I don't think it's like work, right? So I think
so it's an outlet for you to distract your mind when you're worried about, whatever upcoming surgery, you just kind of go to that place.
Yeah. So it's actually like a haven for me. So I think if you're thinking of your business as the stress, then of course you have regular stress and then you have business stress, right? Yeah. So of course I think I would start there. If both sides of your day are stressful, then one of them has to be unstressful.
One of them has to be unstressified. Well, what's interesting is I was talking to a client this morning, and I always get nervous that people look at you or and I mean, I have a reputation for being like prolific in the writing and producing content. And I counted the number of people that are like mentally and logistically supporting me. Like, it's not fair to compare. So, just to kind of like set some realistic standards, I have a full time executive assistant. I have a full time personal assistant. I have a full time stay at home husband. I have a therapist. I have a mentor. I mean, I have like five people like just trying to keep me in line together. So I always kind of want to say that because I don't want people to think that like I'm some crazy superwoman. I know I just got done with my wedding last weekend and I hired a wedding planner, an expensive wedding planner. And I really did not work on too many details of the wedding until the week before. And I took work off and I did all those details. Kathy came out, she helped me too. Like, because I think people look and they're like, "Oh, you're just juggling both." We're not. We're doing one in one hand and then we're doing one in the other, and we're just doing it really fast. So it looks like we're juggling both, but really, I'm doing one thing at a time.
Yeah, I keep going back to kind of what you talked about with about darn time because there's so many things that you teach in that course that helps you balance the things. And
Yeah.
one of them is focus, right?
Hmm.
Knowing what you're working on. I can't imagine doing anything. I can't imagine getting anything done in our business if we were shiny object syndroming all over the place. Like we would
Yeah.
literally just be running around like screaming with our heads cut off if we had no focus and
Yeah.
picking the thing. Okay, we are working on this month. So one thing that's kind of helpful is that when we do have team meeting, we have all hands team meeting once a month, and we go over the month and we say like, here's the goals for this month. Here's what everyone's working on. And then like you're allowed to kind of do a little bit of things outside that. Obviously, like things happen, fires happen. But for the most part, we know what we're working on every month. I can't
And it's
imagine.
only one or two things, and we're an
Right.
entire team.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't imagine just being open to all suggestions every month.
All the time.
So if anyone you just resonated with that and just thought, "Oh wow, I really am open to suggestions every single month and I'm trying new things every like no wonder you're so stressed out because you
Yeah.
have no focus."
Yeah. So on the lines of focus, let's talk. I want to talk a little bit about anxiety. I mean, I know you have
Oof.
surgery coming up, and I mean, it's really hard to stay focused on business when anxiety is kind of running the show. Like, I don't know how you're doing leading up to your surgery. I know for me, I had like a callback for my mammogram, and that like completely took me out for an entire day. And so, like, how do you manage your brain and your creativity when there's like real anxiety producing things
Yeah.
happening personally?
Yeah, I've had this happen so many times. I tend to just have the most rare things of all
The
time. I have like these
rarest.
rare tumor. I mean, I just always it's always the weirdest thing. But what I do, my plan, like I've done it every single time. I do what I can do, and then I let go of what I don't have control over. So that's my plan every single time. So I do as much research as I possibly can. I do my due diligence, like with this surgery in particular. I researched the heck out of it. I talked to doctors. I went to different places. You know, AI'd the crap out of it to learn everything I could possibly learn, all my options, right? I spoke to the surgeons, told all of my concerns, right? I did all the things I could possibly do. Now I'm at the point, it's scheduled, it's happening. I don't want it to happen, but it has to happen, and I let go of that, right? I'm not going to fret over the fact that it has to happen because it has to happen. So there's no point in me being stressed out about the surgery, about how bad is it going to be. Like I've already done all that. I've got the best, situation. I've set myself up. I know what I'm doing. And now I have to let it go. So I'm not really worried
Yeah.
about it because it is what it is. So in a way, I accept what I can't control and then I let go of everything from there. But I do control what I can control and knowing that I did my due diligence and knowing that I did the best. And so that's really the balance I've always had with all this weird health stuff is doing as much research as possible, doing what I can do, and then letting go of the rest.
Yeah. I think, I have like diagnosable health anxiety. Maybe we would even call it like health OCD, right? So I have a lot of stress around this. And so what has helped me is number one, it's very similar to what Cathy's saying, do what I can do, right? I go for all my screenings, I go for all my blood work, I, you know, do my exercise, I get good sleep. Like I do everything that I possibly can do because at that point, like you said, I can't possibly be doing any better than what I'm doing now. And so at that point, there is a level of acceptance that can quiet your brain and allow you to go back to work on your business. One fun thing that I have loved about AI is that if you have a tendency to ruminate or overthink, I have my chat GPT set up. I told it I have a paid account, right? So I told it that I have massive health anxiety and that I need educated and reassuring. I need no negativity bias, no worst case scenario. And so whenever I have like OCD about something, like in this case, my mammogram came back, like I need to go back and have more imaging, even if it happens 2 or 3 times a day, I'll go back to that chat and I'll say, hey, I'm ruminating again. And just having like the chat come back to me and remind me what's true has completely helped. And then I'm like, and then I shut the loop and then I go back to work. So I would say the number one way I use ChatGPT is to slow down the ruminations. And it has been a complete game changer. Like, I'm just like, this is magic for someone like me.
Isn't it kind of funny that you have this health anxiety, but you don't actually have health problems? Whereas I don't necessarily have health anxiety, and then I do have all the problems. But it's funny because, like I said, prepping helps you let it go, right? But it's interesting when you think about the way that the brain works with stress is that sometimes anxiety is worse than the actual event. And so
Yes.
you worrying about that happening is worse than it actually would be if it did happen. Because, and I say that from experience, I've been through really stupid, health things that have been ridiculously scary. And in the moment, you just become who you need to be. It's like your body, you're just made for this, right? Whereas so any high stressful situation, this is the way your brain works. Your adrenaline kicks in and it like gets you out of that situation. Your fight or flight, and so you have what you need to go through those situations. But
Right.
thinking about it, you don't have what you need because you can't actually take action. It's called like executive decision making in your brain. Once you decide to get out of a scary situation, your brain kicks in and all does other things. But when you're in anxiety loop, there is no executive decision because it's not real. It's actually a perceived threat.
There's nothing you can do.
Right. So it's a perceived threat. There's nothing you can do. So that's why you have to say, okay, I've done what I could do. This is what I could do. And now I have to let it go because otherwise it just spins and spins and spins. So I think that like that's having a business actually helps in that way because you have work to do, right? There's like an
Yeah.
endpoint to your exact anxiety. So you're like, okay, well, I can stress out about it until this time. And then now I got to get stuff done. And so can you talk about like that shift of getting out of the anxiety? Because let's say the anxiety is about business. How do you shift it into action and not just kind
Yeah.
of spinning out?
Well, I think it's the exact same process as if you're having anxiety about health, right? So it's like, so if you're in your business, like I can think of a specific situation now, like financial crunch, got to get clients, got to get a cash injection, just did a webinar. So I noticed that she was asking me about all of these other ideas of future things to do to try to make the cash. And I said, you need to focus on the 50 people that came to this webinar or that registered for this webinar for the next 5 days. You need to block out everything else and do everything you can do for those leads because your brain is like thinking about some future funnel, future workshop, future whatever. That means you're not going to do everything you can do. So just in the same way that you talked about doing what you can do for in advance of your surgery, like researching the surgeons and doing all your due diligence, there's due diligence in business too. So it's like, are you doing everything you can do? Are you doing your sales activities? Do you have a coach that can help you with your copy? Are you using the right tools? Do everything you can do. And then you can trust that if something doesn't work, you can pivot and you'll have the grace to pivot when you need to pivot. But if you don't do everything you can do and it doesn't work, you're always left wondering, did it not work because the market doesn't want it? Or did it not work because I didn't do the best that I could do? And I think it's the exact same strategy as what you talked about with like anxiety and health stuff.
Yeah. It like sometimes people don't give it a fighting chance. You know,
Exactly. Right. They like self-sabotage, like
yeah,
to the
they
hilt.
already like, oh, this isn't gonna work, so I'll just and then I'll see it's not working. You know, it's that like bias or
Cognitive.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
cognitive bias of like, see, it didn't do it, and you just like you didn't even give it a chance. You know,
Yeah.
like actually because and we've talked about this in other episodes about like how people's expectations can be really off. And so that's
Yeah.
part of that too is that if your expectations are crazy, then then you're going to give up so much sooner because you were expecting a better result or whatever, and or you
True.
accepted failure a little too fast. My daughter actually asked me last night, which I thought was so funny. She's like, "Yeah, mom, well, you do this and that, and you never fail at anything." And I was like laughing. I was like, "Do I really look like I don't fail at anything?" And I wonder if I have. I hope I don't have that, perception online, and I don't show or like. But I think a lot of people don't look like they fail, probably, right? Online. And so
Yeah.
it was funny that she said that because I'm like, I fail probably once a day at least on something that I was trying to do, but I
Yeah.
don't let it take me out. So
Right.
I think the more you almost want to fail and more often because I think that you get used to it. You get used to failure and it doesn't mean as much. I don't even know if I consider it failure. Maybe someone else would or wouldn't, but
But it
like
also teaches you better than success does too.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. As long as you don't let it take you out.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. You know, another thing that came up in my DMs because, I just had the wedding this past weekend and a bunch of people were asking me like, how are you back to work a day after, right? And I probably look like a complete workaholic, which I don't know, maybe I am a workaholic. I don't know. But I wanted to address this because the whole work-life balance thing, it doesn't really look very work-life balancy to like have a wedding and then on Monday be on sales calls, right? But I know my personality and I know my business cadence, and I know that I had to take a week off before the wedding to get all those details done. And I also know that after taking a week off, I'm going to be hella stressed and I'm going to need a week or two to get back into it. So I knew that planning a honeymoon right after my wedding was a terrible idea, that I wouldn't really enjoy my honeymoon because I would be feeling this pinch because I had taken a week off leading up to it. And so we decided to do a 2 week honeymoon and we're going to break it up over 2 different weeks so that I have plenty of buffer ahead and behind each one so that I'm never gone for more than a week, which is just going to be really hard for my stage of life, my kids, and my business. And that's how I've made the balance work for me. And maybe that's different for other people, but you need to understand your own personality. It's not relaxing for me to go to Disney World knowing that I've got a week's worth of work that's now going to become 2 weeks worth of work. Like that's not relaxing. And so being able to advocate for yourself and create that buffer that you actually need will make a huge difference. And that's another thing that we teach in About Darn Time is like how to account for being a human because a lot of people don't. They think their schedule is like they're just like a robot. And I'm like, you're not. And the more you account for your humanity, the more buffer you build into your schedule.
I do that on a daily basis too, or especially when I need to be creative.
Yeah.
I know what it takes for me to be creative. I know my times, of like when that will work. I know like around about how much time I'll need, like
Mhm.
do I need to have eaten lunch, right? Do I need to have some water? Like I kind of understand how myself works and I'm like one of those weird people where I don't love every minute planned. I actually want some flexibility, and maybe that's just the creativity part of me or something, or the way my brain works. But having a little bit of flexibility and kind of knowing what I need is really, really helpful just on a daily basis. Especially, I've never really had struggled with creativity in that way like being creative on demand, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've listened to myself. I've never sat down on my computer and just go, I got nothing, right? Because I know exactly what to
Yeah.
do in those situations. I know how to set that up and set up like an ideal, I don't know, environment for it. So
Right.
it happens on a daily basis, not just, with weeks and months and years, right? But on a daily basis, how can you set yourself up for success so that you have those moments you need to?
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully this helps for those people who are, you guys DM us on Instagram and we have all this personal craziness. This is just a little insight into how we manage it. Obviously, we do have a team, we have each other. It goes without saying that support is really important. So get yourself hooked into a community and a team as soon as you can. But hope it's helpful. And guys, as always, if there's any topic you want us to talk about, slide into our DMs, let us know, leave us a review. We really appreciate it. And we hope you have a great day. So talk soon.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We're just getting started with this podcast, and we're so excited to have you on this journey with us. If you found value in today's episode, we'd be over the moon if you'd consider subscribing. It's like a virtual high five that keeps us going. And hey, if you're feeling extra gorgeous, leaving a review would mean the world to us. Your words not only make our day, but it also helps other amazing folks just like you find our show through your review. Lastly, if you know someone who could use a little sales pep talk, why not spread the love? Share this episode and let's grow this gorgeous community together.